JBN, we keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones, and in the news, 14-year-old boy attacked in feud over girl. A 14-year-old boy was attacked and stabbed by several people in an apparent feud over a girl in Mandeville, Manchester, on Saturday. Police have confirmed the attack and reported that the child was set upon by 5 other boys and 2 men at a restaurant off Ward Avenue in the town. The injured boy has since been admitted to hospital, according to the police. Initial investigations have revealed that the incident occurred out of an issue with a female with whom the victim and the suspects had been feuding recently. Information received indicates that at about 8 p.m., the boy was among some friends who were attacked by a group of knife-wielding accomplices who stabbed him in the abdomen and chest. He was rushed to hospital, where he was immediately treated and admitted in stable condition. The police have since launched a manhunt for the suspected attackers. Man shot and killed in Seaview Gardens. Police are trying to determine the motive behind the shooting death of a man in Seaview Gardens, St. Andrew this morning. The victim has been identified as Donovan Anthony Collins, also known as Sarge, a 59-year-old vendor from Mapleview Road, Kingston 11. Reports received are that about 11 a.m., residents reported hearing loud explosions sounding like gunshots near the gully on White Sea Drive and called the police. Lawmen arrived and found Collins lying face down in a pool of blood with what appeared to be gunshot wounds to the face and upper body. He had been shot several times. He was rushed to the Kingston Public Hospital in a marked service vehicle but was pronounced dead on arrival. The police are pursuing several theories in order to determine a motive for the killing. Woman killed at wedding in Negril identified. The woman shot and killed at the wedding in Negril, Westmoreland, on Saturday has been identified as 28-year-old Rashina Sr., a data entry clerk of Kingsville in Hanover. 2 photographers were also injured after gunmen opened fire at the wedding's bridal party at Shields Hotel in Negril. Reports are that at about 6:15 p.m., Sina was among the bridal party taking photographs when armed men traveling on a motorcycle. 2 photographers were also injured after gunmen opened fire at the wedding's bridal party at Shields Hotel in Negril. Reports are that at about 6:15 p.m., Sina was among the bridal party taking photographs when armed men traveling on a motorcycle gained access to a neighboring beach property and opened fire at the wedding party through the picket fence of the resort, hitting Sina and the 2 photographers. The police were summoned, and upon arrival, the wounded people were rushed to a medical facility in the area where the 2 photographers were treated and the senior was pronounced dead. 14-year-old accused of stealing $100,000 worth of food items. A 14-year-old boy suspected of stealing $100,000 worth of food items has been charged with housebreaking, larceny, and malicious destruction of property. Reports are that about 9 p.m. on Wednesday, March 15, in Elam District in St. Elizabeth, a man locked up his house, and upon his return, he realized that the front door was damaged. A close examination revealed that several food items with an estimated value of $100,000 were stolen. A report was made to the police and an investigation launched. During the investigation, the teen was arrested and formally charged on Friday, March 24, after a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney. He is scheduled to appear before the St. Elizabeth Parish Court on Tuesday, March 28. Man's body found on road in Clarendon. The body of a 63-year-old man, who police said residents claimed to be an alcoholic, was found along an off-road on Roswell Road in Clarendon on Saturday morning. He has been identified as Sidney Williams, a mechanic from Roswell District in Sandy Bay in the parish. Information received is that about 6 a.m., the police responded to a report of a body seen lying on the road in the community. Upon their arrival, they saw the body of an adult male, later identified as Williams, lying on his back clad in a yellow shirt, red and white patterned shorts, and black and white sneakers. The police reportedly observed bruise marks on the left knee, left elbow, and abdomen. The scene was processed and the body removed. Police believe Williams died between 4 and 6 Saturday morning. According to lawmen, residents reported that Williams was heavily intoxicated and was last seen lying on the roadway at around 4 a.m. Man dies in motor vehicle collision in Hanover. A 59-year-old motorcyclist was killed in a motor vehicle collision along the Industry Cove Main Road in Hanover on Saturday morning. He was reportedly killed by a bus that overtook a line of traffic. The deceased man has been identified as George Kellier, a laborer of Prospect District, Green Island in Hanover. Police reports are that at around 4:10 p.m., Kelly was driving his motorcycle along the Industry Cove Main Road, heading from Green Island towards Lucy when the collision took place. Allegations are that upon reaching a section of the road, a Toyota Voxy, traveling in the opposite direction, overtook a line of traffic before heading into the path of Kellier. The police were alerted and the scene processed. Kellier's body was removed to the morgue for post-mortem. Police investigations are ongoing. Massive buildup of traffic along Hague Main Road following two-truck collision. The Falmouth police are working assiduously to ease the traffic congestion on the Hague Main Road after two trucks collided Sunday afternoon. Firefighters are busy working to free one of the truck drivers who was pinned down in his vehicle. It is not clear if anyone was physically hurt in the other truck. Preliminary reports are that about 2 p.m., a truck was turning off the North Coast Highway into Hague when it collided with a truck which was heading in the opposite direction. FSC declares that SSL doesn't have enough funds to pay debts. The government is moving to shut down scandal-scarred investment firm Stocks and Securities Limited, SSL, as the regulator. The Financial Services Commission, FSC, is arguing that the company does not have enough money to pay its debts. The wind-up under the Companies Act is reportedly being sought because the FSC believes SSL is insolvent on the basis of finding some temporary manager for SSL, Kenneth Tomlinson, whom the regulator installed on January 17, 7 days after receiving reports of a multi-billion-dollar fraud. Up to January 31, SSL had assets of $1.1 billion and liabilities of $1.2 billion, according to information received. Losses for the year so far amounted to $184 million, in addition to negative equity of around $29 million. Loans totaled $623 million. Reports are also emerging that $29.2 billion in assets found on the company's off-balance sheet covers the original investments of the 8,000 active clients of the beleaguered 50-year-old private firm. A shortfall of close to $200 million exists when liabilities of around $29.4 billion are subtracted. A balance sheet is a financial statement that reports a company's assets, liabilities, and shareholder equity, while the off-balance sheet includes assets and liabilities such as loans that are not recorded on a company's balance sheet. In SSL's case, the assets and liabilities on its off-balance sheet are reportedly not owned by the company. Tomlinson has reportedly verified over 98% of the assets on the off-balance sheet. It is not clear whether the amounts that allegedly disappeared from at least 40 clients, including sports legend Usain Bolt, are included. The alleged fraud stretches back at least 13 years. Some of the findings are being used by the FSC to seek permission from the Supreme Court to submit a request to wind up or liquidate SSL. An application was filed in early March. Liquidation refers to the process through which the affairs of a limited company are wound up or brought to an end, and the assets and property of the company distributed to its creditors, and if any remains, to its members. This turn of events also backs up a report that SSL has not been paying its taxes. Up to January 30, SSL owed the state $40 million, some representing deductions from employees' wages. It has also emerged that 62% of SSL assets are monies due from related party companies, that is approximately $710 million. Those funds are uncollected at this time, noted one source. According to the source, the remaining 32% of assets that total $432 million, which, if disposed of at a fairly conducted sale under legal process, would not be sufficient to enable payment of SSL's obligations that are due and occurring. The matter concerning connected party transactions is a major focus in the multi-agency law enforcement probe involving the Financial Investigations Division, the Police Fraud Squad, and the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation. High-level probe missed fire as St. Andrew woman said she expected to get answers when the police was announced in 2020 that a high-level investigation was underway to find out why cops turned her away from a police station in the middle of the night after she showed up to file a report of domestic abuse against her spouse. This is one of the countless times the leadership of the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF, past and present, have publicly promised similar probes, but to date, the state of many of those investigations is still unknown. The Police High Command typically orders a high-level investigation in high public interest incidents involving cops. According to police spokesperson, Senior Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay, a high-level investigation signals that the case has been elevated from the local level to the divisional area or national headquarters of the police force, who is likely to benefit from additional resources. At the time of the November 2020 incident at the Constant Spring Police Station in St. Andrew, nightly curfews, which began at 9, were among the measures imposed under the Disaster Risk Management Act, the legislation used by the government to contain the spread of the deadly COVID-19. Around the same time, a St. Andrew man also reported that he was turned away from the Matilda's Corner Police Station when he showed up after 9 p.m. to make a report that thieves had broken into his car. A high-level investigation was ordered by Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson following media reports about the incidents, including claims by the woman that the cops also threatened to arrest her for breaking the law, a reference to the DRMA. Both cases were assigned to the Inspectorate of Professional Standards and Oversight Bureau IPROB, the quality control arm of the police force led by Assistant Commissioner of Police MacArthur Sutherland. There are no orders under the Disaster Risk Management Act, and it is not the policy of the JCF that any member of the public be turned away from any police station, even with a curfew in effect, Anderson said at the time. But more than 2 years after she gave statement to investigators, the woman, who did not want to be named, said she knows nothing about the case or the outcome. She acknowledged that she is aware of a case, similar to a court case that is happening, but said she has not been told whether it was completed. The St. Andrew woman said she expected that the police would have done their investigations and that should have known the result, whatever it is. Her case is among an untold number of investigations for which the police have failed to provide updates after declaring a high-level probe was launched. It also mirrors the wider concern by the Independent Commission of Investigations INDECOM about accountability in the Jamaican police force. INDECOM is the agency established by law to provide oversight for the security forces and correctional officers. Between 2019 and the end of last year, INDECOM referred a total of 222 cops to IPROB for disciplinary action. The oversight body confirmed the referral stemmed from 151 cases. Last year alone, 77 cops were referred for disciplinary action, the highest for a calendar year during the 4-year period, according to the data. 32 policemen and women were referred for criminal and disciplinary sanctions over the same 4-year period, arising from 21 cases. The complaints typically include assault, threats, neglect of duty, death in custody and wounding, the oversight agency said. In December 2019, a high-level transnational investigation was set in motion about a police inspector who was allowed to quietly resign from the force amid allegations that he tipped off an accused gangster about an operation to apprehend him. A police statement issued at the time said, "It is our expectation that, at the conclusion of this investigation, charges will be laid against anyone who played a role in the matter, whether they are serving members of the JCF or not." Similar probes were also ordered in December 2021 after murder accused Orville Purnell simply walked out of the Kingston Central Police lockup amid allegations of a $3 million payout, and in July 2021 after cops reportedly compelled a St. Ann man, Shaquille Higgins, to apologize for disrespecting Prime Minister Andrew Holness in a viral social media video. Purnell is wanted in St. Lucia for murder and illegal possession of firearm and ammunition and remains on the run. The police commissioner, in a public statement issued at the time of the Higgins incident, reminded cops that apologies should not be solicited or coerced from members of the public. JBN will keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.